Hey everybody, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video and another installment of our Funny Friday series with art impressions. I love this series because I always get to make something fun and adorable with art impressions products, and today I'm going to be using the Easter Chicks stamp and die set. So this set comes with the coordinating dies, which is really great because you do want to be able to cut these images out because these guys come with accessories, and I'll show you how to use those as we go along here. I actually love this set so much, I couldn't decide what images I wanted to use. So I decided, you know what? We're going to make a slimline card and I'm going to use them all. And that's what I love about slimline cards, is that it gives you extra space and room to be able to really have fun with your stamped images and make some really elaborate scenes. So I've stamped these onto Nina white cardstock, and I'm going to start by coloring all the chicks in the same shades of yellow and in the same manner, in which I'm going to make sure that they all have a highlight area on their face and their belly. It's just going to make them a little bit more dimensional. So the colors I used were Y000, Y00, Y11, Y13, and Y19. That was for the chicks. Then throughout the rest of the coloring, I'm going to bring in some different blues, greens, and pinks to really create that springy color combination. If you're interested in all the colors that I used today, I do have them linked below in the video description or over on the blog, so be sure to check that out. If you go over to the blog, there are picture links too, which is helpful. Oscar, of course, always has to be part of my videos. I don't know why. I think he always knows when I'm filming because he loves to get in the footage. I think he just likes the attention. He's a very needy cat, so I think he just likes to be part of it and also likes to get his face in there. So I'm going to wrap up the coloring here by finishing up the shading on the accessories, which include the little bows and the hat. Then the other thing I wanted to make sure to color on these characters is adding some rosy cheeks and also some pink on their bellies. I think this really makes them even more adorable and it brings them to life. So I used the lightest pink marker from all of the colors that I used for the pink shades. I used the lightest one for that shading. So now it's time to take the coordinating dies and cut these images out. I'm going to use some Easy C tape to hold the dies in place because that is important. You don't want these shifting as they run through your die cut machine. And when you're cutting these images out, all of the accessories have an area on the die that coordinates with the image. It has a spot that's going to cut out a slit, and I'm going to show you that. So this hat, for instance, it has the brim of the hat there. Along that brim is where the slit is, and so then you can just slip this over top of the chick's head, and so now the chicks are wearing the accessories. It's really cute. This guy is, I think, my favorite. I love how he's laughing, and I thought he would be perfect for wearing the bunny ears. So now it's time to start work on assembling these images into a scene. And speaking of scenes, I've pulled out the Simon Says Stamp Slimline Scene Builder Stencil. Now this doesn't have to be used for slimline cards. It works great for other sizes too. I'm going to be using some Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks to ink blend through the stencil and start building a scene that my chicks can sit on top of. So I picked two green inks, which were Sprout and Fairway. These colors work really well in creating a nice bit of shading for this hillside, and I'm fading that out to white as we go towards the bottom of the hill. So I have one side of the hill completed, and now I'm going to overlap this and create a second hill behind it. So now I'm going to use those same two shades to add a bit more blending onto this side of the hill, and that's going to create a nice area that is going to serve as the ground. Once I remove the stencils, then I shifted over to the cloud layer that's part of the stencil. This one I'm going to be using some SEAFOAM ink from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm using a small blending brush like I did for the first round of ink blending for the grassy hillsides. I think SEAFOAM has got to be my absolute favorite shade of Positively Saturated ink from Simon. I just absolutely love this teal color. It's so pretty. So I'm going to color a bunch of clouds in the background here. I think I ended up with a total of 5 by the time I was all done with this. And the goal was to add quite a bit of clouds in the background to fill in that sky. Then the other thing I wanted to make sure to do was to add a bit of ink blending around the edges with that blue shade. You don't have to do this, but I did want to bring in more of that blue to really intensify that color and help it coordinate well with the blue shades that I have on my chicks and all their accessories. To attach my images down, I'm using some foam tape from Scrapbook Adhesives, and all of the chicks are going to get popped up except for the one stuck in the egg. We're going to make a little bit of animation here for this one. I think it's always fun to add an interactive element to your cards. So we're going to use the action wobblers, which are a great little interactive tool that allows you to create some animation on your cards. So it's a spring and it's going to attach to both your image and also your card. So we're going to stick one side of the spring to the back side of our little chick. Then I'll remove the release paper on the other side and lay this on top of my scene. Once I get it in the place that I feel fits best, I'll test it to make sure I like how it interacts with the other images, and then I'll press it down fully to get it attached completely. So now we have this cute little chick attached by a spring so he can kind of wobble around on the card, which is really fun. I'm going to ground these images just to kind of make them feel like they're not floating because the grassy area didn't come down low enough. I didn't blend far enough down to create a ground underneath them. But that's okay, we can fix that. I'm going to use a light YG marker, this was YG11, and I'm just going to shade around each of the characters to create that ground effect. I also used a darker marker to add some texture areas on my blending and also the Copic marker coloring just to give the grass some extra interest. I want this panel to be popped up off of my card a little bit, but I don't want to create too much bulk. So I'm going to use a piece of white cardstock and using a Simon Says Stamp dot runner, I'm going to adhere that white cardstock to the back side of my scene. Then I can attach that entire piece onto my SLIMLINE card from Simon Says Stamp, and that'll give my scene panel just a slight bit of dimension off of the card. Using the Happy Easter sentiment from the Easter Chick stamp set, I'm stamping this with Simon Says Stamp embossing ink and then sprinkling white embossing powder over top. My plan is to heat set this, and so that way I'll have a nice crisp white greeting on top of the black cardstock, and that'll stand out really well amongst all the fun colors of my scene. I'm going to use my fussy cut scissors to trim this out, and then I'll just pop that up above the smallest chick inside the egg. I embellished my card with a few sequins from Simon Says Stamp. This is the strawberry shortcake mix. I'll glue these down with a bit of Ultra Bond clear adhesive. You could use any clear adhesive you want, and I'll just glue those down around the elements on my card. I also used that clear adhesive to add some areas of adhesive on my images. My plan is to take a couple of Simon Says Stamp glitters in Unicorn Confetti and Unicorn Dust and sprinkle those glitters over top of my images. So anywhere that there is glue on those images, that's going to hold down that glitter and it's going to create a nice sparkly finish for these cuties. I absolutely love how when this catches the light, their ears or the bow or other elements where I've added some adhesive and glitter, they sparkle, so it just makes the card even more fun. I love how this card turned out, and I absolutely just adore this stamp set. This was the Easter Chick set from Art Impressions, and I hope you enjoyed watching me create this card as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. I hope it inspires you to use this set to make a fun Easter card, and don't forget that you could use these chicks even beyond Easter. They would be super cute for a birthday card during the spring. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to come back and share more with you all. But until I see you again, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Bye!